roommates, everything else that they are to us. So I'll let you go.
All right, you've heard a lot from us this weekend, but we can't tell you how much it means to us to have you all here, all the way out in Balcones, Marble Falls, people from all over the place. Once again, thank you to all of our friends for flying in from literally all over the world. And before we get into it, I don't know where Jen is and Bree, but can we please get a huge round of applause for the wedding planners that work at Balcones. Woo! Jen is a queen. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so a few quick shout outs. As Annie alluded to, we're very fortunate to have lived in many places and met truly incredibly inspiring people that will be friends for the rest of our lives. And like my dad said, continue to help us grow as individuals and as a couple. And so we just want to start off, let's go chronologically here. Let's start and say thank you to the Louisiana crew who's in the house tonight. Woo! Where the Boudreaux and Thibodeau's at, all right.
What about my Cleveland crew?
K-Hood. Oh yeah, well, we kind of bundled a few in one. We've got the overarching bucket of New York. That's NYU, that's Salty, that's Indela, that's all our good peeps. All right.
What about Park City in Wisconsin?
Yes, we did introduce a Park City in Wisconsin friend, and they are now dating, and they're here. You're welcome. We bundled them. And Eric already called it out, but the 2-year reunion of Stanford GSB. Okay, that's enough. You're good. All right. You're good. Go Cards!
And then real quick, wanted to thank again everyone who traveled internationally, Adrian, Chrissy, Alex Riesebeek. We also have a few people that came in just for the day. Crazy Sacrifice, Stevie, Sharma, Cat and Blake, Billy and Mary, Liz and Chase. There's a lot of you. But seriously, unbelievable.
And we're extremely honored to have a group of outstanding and incredibly impressive active duty military and veterans in the house tonight. Just like quick little, I know it's embarrassing, quick little stand up. We got Heather Kelly, Scott Kelly. We got Roy Bilodeau, David Lee, Brian Scullin, Stu Force. If I miss you, it's probably one of our amazing parent friends, but you know, I think we got most of you. But thank you all so much for all you do and have done, especially this month, really thinking of you all. Extra special recognition for Grammy and Mickey again. Mickey's almost in the Century Club. Grammy's there. Y'all are really incredible, and I think everyone in this room hopes to live a life as full as both of you. We love you.
And to my parents and their partners, Eric already covered it, but again, thank you so much for hosting us last night and all your help throughout the planning and just making this possible, obviously alongside of Steve and Di, who, gosh, I don't think there's enough words to say how much I appreciate and love them, but thank you again for all your support and for hosting us. And, you know, Mom, I know you're kind of always on cloud 9 whenever you even think of Tess. How do we get so lucky, right?
Yes.
Thank y'all. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful to have you all as parents now. Woo! And an enormous, lifelong, constant, always there thank you to my parents, Steve and Di, who you all know very well by this point, for throwing the wedding of the century and letting Reid and I bring our summer camp visions to life. We wanted to trap you all together for 3 days, so success. Hope you like each other. for those of you who don't know, my dream was to get married at my parents' lake house in rural East Texas, Lake Livingston, Camp Manning, Diana's Fort, lots of names. Shout out to many of you who have been there. That is a very small property, so Balcony Springs is the next best thing, and this is just more than I could have ever imagined, so thank you. It is the most fun weekend in the world because of you two. As we heard last night, tonight, always, you both have always brought so much love and generosity to every single person in your life, including me and Grant, starting first and foremost, but to everyone else around you. And always the best parties of all time. I think Steve, what? And all the kids that came over, I think Steve's 50th birthday with the disco ball, there's a few of you there that night, kids and adults. We had some broken ribs, we had some Jello shots, we had Annie puking on the rug. Yeah, I mean, they throw good parties. Be safe tonight. Okay, I'm grateful I have the coolest parents in the entire world and that you gave me the best brother in the entire world. You gave the best speech last night. Love you, Grant. And finally, thank you for loving my husband as a real member of our family. That's the first time I said that. Let's go. I love you both so much. Oh yeah. Okay, before I read roast Steve, going back to the Krinsler-Sonnenbergs for a minute. So, as my dad said, we both have, Reid and I very different backgrounds, which is coming to life this weekend. One of my first times to Cleveland, no, my very first time to Cleveland, we were staying at Eric and Jamie's house. And the boys were pretty young at that point. Noah, Ari, I think they were like 6 or I don't know how old you were. But at 6 a.m. every day, they would bust in the room and be like, "What's up? We play video games, we play basketball." One day they came in the room, they're like, "Hey, what, are you Jewish?" I was like, "No." And they're like, "I don't get it. What do you mean you don't?" They couldn't compute that I wasn't Jewish. And they didn't understand. I always say that Kingwood was like the Catholic version of Beechwood. It was like the Jewish Beechwood, Catholic Kingwood. No, they were like, "I don't get it. Oh, what?" And they were so confused all weekend. But I think we've come a long way since then. And I hope that you accept me now as part of your family. Do you accept me? Thank you. We've come a long way. No, but yeah, just a little tiny story to say how amazing your family is, and as different as we are, I think we're all very similar at heart, and thank you for making Reid the man he is. I love you all. Krinsler-Sonnenbergs.
I would say the same could go for Di and me, but the truth is that she welcomed me from the very first time we ever got together. Okay, so Di and Steve, I can still remember the very first time. Di, I think we had met once before, but in Park City, and how you welcomed me into the family immediately. At first, I thought it was my idea, at least in terms of winning over Steve, to bring a backpack full of Coors Lights onto the mountains that won his heart. And we were soon making Mai Tais and having a great time. But I think, fast forward 8 years, and the fact that we spent, gosh, I'd say almost 4 or 5 months together during COVID, and we're now we're the crappiest tenants of all time. We don't pay any rent, but can't tell you how much we appreciate you opening up Park City to us and letting us live there and live that dream. But I did want to tell one story very quickly. So 2 years ago, Di was in San Francisco, staying with Tess and me, and I told her I really wanted to propose to Tess and take her hand in marriage, but timing was very tight because at that point we really wanted to rush the wedding, in my head at least, to have it in 2020. Stupid me, right? So if I were to have a wedding in the summer of 2020, I needed to propose, and she said, "Well, you have to get to Houston." So I was in work for Dallas, and a meeting ended early, so I was able to, impromptu fly a flight from Dallas to Houston, and I did it, and I called Di and Steve. I texted them, "Hey, I'm in Houston. Is it all right if I stay at the house tonight?" And they said, "Sure." And then, of course, in Di and Steve fashion, they're very social. They were at a dinner at a friend's house, And so even though I was home, they came home 3 or 4 hours later. Now mind you, I had to be in Austin at I think at 7 a.m. for a meeting. So was literally just waiting up for them to get home, and it kept on getting longer and longer, and so it goes. But they finally did come home, and I mean, I can listen to Steve speak all night. I don't know, his voice is intimidating but profound, right? So they come in and they say, what the heck are you doing here? And I say, well, I came to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. And so we sit down, the three of us in the great room in Kingwood, and I make my case and tell Steve how it's been a long time and all this. I followed your daughter from New York to California. And he says, "Can I think about it?" And so I go, "What do you need to think about?" And so he starts to explain to me that, Tess is a free spirit. I think she has so much fun. I don't want you to get in the way of her having all this fun. And so I go, well, I just moved out to California. In the last 3 months, we've been to Thailand, Israel. I basically turned back my internal clock by 15 years and I'm going to frat parties again. What the hell kind of fun am I getting in the way of? And so I say, no, you can't have until the morning or anymore. Like, this conversation is going down right now. But luckily I had Di in my corner, and as Steve alluded to earlier, you don't mess with Di. And right? And we did, it was the biggest deal I've ever closed. The hardest and the biggest. And I did go to bed in Tessa's childhood pink room with black carpet. For 4 hours with the answer that I needed. And Steve, my promise to you is that I will never, ever get in the way of Tess having fun. I will only support her in all the craziness that she pursues. And I love you. And it was a good, I would have done the same thing. But thank you both.
Okay, now take some shots. Let's dance.
You left out that part about where you wouldn't move to Cleveland, but that was before I went to Cleveland, so we can negotiate that too.
Cleveland is the Houston of the Midwest, baby.
All right, everyone, just enjoy the rest of the night. You're done hearing from us.